Welcome everyone to our information session today. We're going to talk about our PhD in Counselor Education and Supervision program, which we often refer to as CES here at Palo Alto University. And your hosts today are myself, I'm Krista, I'm the program manager for the CES program, and I'm joined by Dr. Margaret Lamar, who is an associate professor, associate department chair of the CES program. And with that, I'll pass it to Margaret.
Well, hi everyone. I just got a couple more folks coming in, so welcome. Hi, Tracy. So we are going to give you a quick overview of the PhD program. So we hopefully will answer questions that you have. We are the first residentially based CES program in California. Our first cohort is now in their second year. We started last fall. And so we have two cohorts. So if you're in our program, you might have some of them in your classes as co-teachers, co-instructors, co-supervisors. They bring a wealth of knowledge and experience with them. So this is our mission statement. We really have thought a lot about this program. One of the advantages of building a program from the ground up is that you can really make it be whatever you want it to be. And our faculty got together and said, what is it that we do in our day-to-day lives, and how can we prepare students adequately to face those challenges and not just do this work, but also take this work into the future. Because when I'm training students in my class right now, when I'm teaching counseling skills right now, I'm very aware that I'm not training somebody really for the next few years. I'm training someone to be a counselor in the future, right? Like in the next 25 years, they're going to be really hitting their stride. And who knows what the field will look like, what technology will be included in our field. So we really want to think about the future and all that that entails and train you to help prepare that next generation of counselors and leaders.
So, who should apply? Graduates of CACREP accredited counseling programs. If you are currently a student, that's all right. You do not need to be graduated at the time of applying, just by the time classes start in September. Our program is also open to associate professional clinical counselors or post-grad counselors working towards licensure. Also, if you are licensed, you're welcome to apply. Open to school counselors as well as MFTs. And Margaret, is there anything else you wanted to share on this topic?
Well, I was just thinking we have a college counselor also in this group now. So, yeah, I think if you're anywhere in the, doing mental health work and have a degree in counseling, we want to talk to you.
Yes. I love the diversity of our current students. As Margaret mentioned, we have two cohorts, and it's fabulous to see that we have people who are recent master's graduates who are still working towards licensure, and they have passions they're bringing to want to teach and do research. And we also have some students who are 20, 30 years into this profession who are ready to take things to the next level. And I love that diversity in our student body. So ultimately, are you a good fit for the program? Are you collaborative and eager to learn? Are you in alignment with our mission and values? And just a reminder that you don't need to be a researcher, published author, or teacher. We will help you to develop these skills. And ultimately, we're looking for our future colleagues.
So we're very excited to announce this is our first admission cycle where we will be recruiting folks to start our program in an online setting. So currently, about half of our classes are on campus at our Mountain View campus, and about half of them are online. And we have gotten feedback from students um, and feedback from people interested in coming to the program where we really believe that we can offer this program really successfully on completely online with in-person residencies. So very similar to our master's program. If you are in the distance learning master's program at PAU, you come in for two residencies. It'll be very similar to that. You'll come in for three residencies to, help teach our students, supervise them, and also have your own classwork time. Um, so yeah, we're really excited, and this opens up a lot of opportunities to the rest of our faculty online. We have so many great faculty, but they're not all in the Bay Area, and so I'm constantly thinking, man, I would love for this person to teach this class, but they live in Florida, and this class is in, on the Mountain View campus every single week. So this will be really great. You'll Students in this cohort will get to meet more of our faculty and work with more of our faculty in classes. So we're very excited about that. So this is our counseling department leadership. Dr. Donna Shaparis is the department chair. She's also in charge of the e-clinic. And then Dr. Branco is the associate department chair for the MA counseling program. And then we have Sarah Everly, who is our department manager. So just a few faces in our these are more faces, more of us. This just got taken. So this is the most recent photo of our faculty. We took this in September. So we have lots of diverse faculty with lots of different interests, lots of research methodological foci, and lots of research interests in different areas. So they're doing all kinds of different types of research and doing all have different clinical specialties and teaching specialties. So there's really something for almost everyone. We're really got an incredible group of folks.
I'll jump in a little bit about coursework. Our program is designed to be completed in 3 years. Right now, you have 3 quarters on and then summers are off. Our program is designed with working professionals in mind. So we try to stack our classes so it only happens 1 to 2 days a week. And we have a sample schedule. So if you're interested, please feel free to reach out. We have students who are able to really kind of negotiate with their current clinics or sites. And basically they know, okay, well, maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays I reserve for the CES program and I work Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There's some flexibility there in how we tailor the schedule and how students can adapt. And so Doc Student Life at a glance, like I said, class is 1 to 2 days a week, daytime hours. And then starting next year, all classes will be online except for residency, no summer classes. And then we'll have co-teaching and co-supervising opportunities Monday through Thursday and during our residencies. You might have some other independent meetings, such as meeting with your faculty research lab, or having supervision for internship, or maybe meeting with the faculty chair for academic or professional planning. Additionally, if you're wanting more time to work with the department, there's opportunities for CES fellowships, as well as PAU employment and adjunct teaching. And I'll pass it off to Dr. Lamar to talk a little bit more about the curriculum.
Yeah, so this is our core curriculum, the research curriculum. And then internship and dissertation. So you can kind of look at these in sort of these chunks. We have five primary core areas. So when you come to the counselor and supervision, it is an addition to what you've already learned clinically at the master's level. So there is counseling is a part of our core identity. So it is in there. It is not a primary focus, because really what we're doing is adding on to what you already know about that by extending that to learning how to teach about counseling and supervise counselors, research about counseling, and then do leadership and advocacy work within the profession, or other professions more broadly. So those are kind of the core areas that we're looking at. And then through all of those, you have opportunities to take your own coursework, to teach classes and supervise students and do research projects through the internship. Which I'll talk a bit more about in a second. And then the multiple article dissertation is another core area of or is a core experience in our program. So primarily the classes that you do the internship and sort of foundational coursework is what you do in your first year in the program. So you're doing supervision, andragogy, which is learning how to teach, advanced theory, counseling skill, and group leadership. That's all along with doing internship experiences. The counselor and supervision internship experience looks different than the master's experience, because it's not mostly happening out in an agency. It's mostly happening within the walls of, the online walls, if you will, of PAU. So when you teach a class or co-teach a class with a faculty member, you do that for internship. If you co-supervise practicum or co-supervise counseling skills or residency, that's all part of internship. um, Doing a research project with a faculty member is part of internship. And then we have current students who are sitting on various committees or doing sort of consultation projects. Somebody right now is doing a curriculum assessment of our there's actually someone doing one at the doctoral level and someone doing it at the master's program, looking at our curriculum for really important gaps and things that we could be doing to improve our curricular experiences for the master's and doctoral level. They're doing that as part of their leadership and advocacy. So they're really thinking about assessment, curriculum. We have folks who are sitting on professional boards as part of their leadership and advocacy internship. So lots of different opportunities. So that's really a big focus of the first year, along with that foundational coursework. The second year, you really start diving into more advanced coursework around transcultural approaches, program leadership, more advanced research coursework, and then starting to dip your toe into dissertation. And then the third year, the focus really is primarily on dissertation. So there's a couple of courses that trickle over into the third year. For the most part, you're working more independently um, on your research and working on your multiple article dissertation. Do we have a different slide on that? Should I talk about that now? No. Okay. So the multiple article dissertation, I'll just briefly say, is exactly what it sounds like, which is that instead of writing, and I usually have mine right here, but instead of writing mine's like 300-page dissertation, but often they're, at least 100 or close to 100 pages. What we do is we teach you to actually do the work that we do as researchers, which is learn to research and publish articles. And so the multiple article dissertation is really you building out a research project that's multi-part, that then you can publish and put out into the world. Because writing a dissertation has not helped me write a second dissertation. I don't ever want to write a second dissertation. And in fact, um, when you write a traditional dissertation, it gives you a lot of really bad writing habits, such as writing really long, long lit review. Chapter 2 is your lit review, and you write really long, wordy ones. And in reality, when you write a lit review, it needs to be about 4 pages max, double spaced. So it doesn't, so we're really wanting to, you're right, develop those strong, succinct, clear, and direct writing skills, and then be able to take your research and put it into an article. So that is what the multiple article dissertation is about. Was there one about accreditation, or are we?
That one comes after this one.
Oh, okay, great. I mentioned this earlier, but different ways to work with our faculty are through co-teaching, co-supervising. So you go into the class with the faculty, you help them develop the syllabus, help them, do evaluation and assessment, help provide feedback for students. It's a really fun experience and way to sort of build your vita for being able to teach lots of different coursework. And then there's lots of research opportunities available. And then we have our CES fellowships, which are a part of, I think Krista will actually talk about these a little bit later, but those are opportunities to work in specific positions within the department, to support and learn more about program managing our programs. So those are great opportunities to continue your learning outside the classroom. So we want to talk a little bit about accreditation. So um, the CES program in Palo Alto University is accredited by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. So WASC is a group that accredits universities. So they accredit everyone, like UC Berkeley, USC, right? All of those universities have an accreditation by WASC, which means that the degree you get from here is accredited, and it holds a lot of value. Our program was created to be in alignment with the CACREP accreditation standards, which are profession specific. CACREP, we are accredited at the master's level. And essentially, what that does is says, there's a group of people that are part of CACREP that say, here's sort of what we believe students in the field should be learning. It kind of holds our profession to a standard. Um, and so accreditation really means that we are assessing on those standards, right? Those things that people have said, this is what's important for educators to know how to do, that we assess knowledge, skills, competencies, and that we're able to provide like a good, solid experience for our students. It also means that, you're able to go to other states, you're able to go to other CES programs and teach and sort of know what the standards are. So our master's program is accredited by CACREP. We're going up under the 2024 standards right now, so that accreditation will hopefully be renewed. It's not technically renewed, but it'll be accredited under the new standards. And then our doctoral program, we will be submitting our self-study materials next year, hopefully, so that we can make sure that our CES program is accredited. Um, and if you don't know, the way that works is uh, well, one, I just will say we feel very confident about our ability to do that. We have had people who have worked for CACREP, people who have been chairs of the board, people who go around and study other, do the approvals for other programs to be CACREP accredited. We have all of those people in our faculty. And so we feel really confident in our ability to write a really strong self-study. The master's program will already have gone through. And so it's just kind of adding on an additional program at that point. Um, and we're hoping to submit that next year and then see our accreditation for this program happen after that. But regardless, whenever somebody graduate or whenever we get accredited, they backdate our accreditation 18 months. So you all will be, when you all have started, we'll have hopefully already submitted our self-study and then be well finished with that process before you even get close to graduation. But if you have questions about that, please let us know.
Well said, Dr. Lamar. All right. And then just looking ahead at degree application. So our expert faculty, robust internship options, and personalized research plans prepare participants for multiple career options. Maybe that's graduate level teaching and counselor preparation. Maybe it's research and mental health. Maybe it's counseling supervision, or perhaps you're interested in organizational leadership. We have loved talking to prospective students and actual students about their visions. Some people have, goals of wanting to start a nonprofit that specific works with immigration. Some people want to say, hey, I've been a supervisor, but now I'm ready to teach at the university. And some people say, research is my passion. And I not only want to do research for counseling, but what does counselor education look like in the future? Or what does telemental health look like in counselor ed and supervision? So we have a real variety of interests and potential for applying this degree to our once you're a graduate. And a little bit about admissions requirements. So you can find this information on our website. You'll submit an application, a resume or CV, a personal statement, 3 letters of recommendation, and official transcripts. And so here are the first deadlines. If you are very much interested in the program, because now we've pivoted to an online delivery model, we anticipate high rates of application. So we encourage you to get your applications in by January 4th. That would include your application as well as your letters of rec. And so we just encourage people to start working that earlier than you think, because sometimes there's some back and forth with the people who are your references. So start thinking about that maybe now. In December, definitely reach out to those people. And then we will have our virtual interview January 26th. And a little bit about financial aid and advising. Here you'll find the contact information for our financial aid team. They can help you better understand what options there are available for you. In addition to financial aid, we have opportunities for adjunct teaching after you've completed your first year. So the summer of your first year, we have some scholarships. We also have fellowships, as Dr. Lamar mentioned. Our fellowships offer a tuition remission percentage in exchange for working in a specific area alongside our faculty and staff. And then we also have some employment opportunities at PAU, full-time and part-time, which could also lead to tuition remission and an opportunity to experience what does it look like to work with counseling faculty, psychology faculty in higher education. And so over the course of 3 years, the estimated cost is about $82,000. And again, if you have questions about that, you're welcome to reach out to me or the financial aid team to talk about options. We realize it's a significant investment of both your time and money to undertake a PhD program. And so with that, we'll open the floor for questions. I'll also put in the chat our CS webpage link and my email. We definitely understand that this is a big decision. So if you just kind of want to talk about it broad strokes, if you're trying to figure out if it's the right fit for you, you're always welcome to reach out and we're happy to talk about that. So if you have any questions, feel free to use the raise your hand button or put it in the chat. Or just unmute yourself and jump on in. Isabel.
Hello. So I am a first year in the Palo Alto Masters of Clinical Mental Health program, and I know that we technically graduate in December of 2027. So I was wondering when the CES program would start and like would I need to take that big gap between graduation in December and then starting the program in, I would guess, September probably.
Sure. Yeah, I can answer that. I was nodding my head. Yeah, so right now we don't, our only admission start is in for the fall. So yeah, so there would be a bit of a gap between then for you to get some clinical hours in and work on those licensure hours.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Hmm. Chris.
Yeah, thank you both for the presentation. It was very informative. I appreciate that. Very excited to hear that it's going all online for the most part. Um, in being a professor and teaching counseling, is this doctorate in a CES, is that kind of what you see across the board in other states? As that's kind of a popular doctorate to have if you are going to be an educator in higher education.
Yeah, that's a great question. So typically to teach in a counseling like a master's program, just like our PAU one, you need to have a CACREP accredited CES degree. Again, we're working on that and we'll get that there. But yeah, you would want to have a degree in counselor education and supervision as opposed to a psychology degree or something like that. If you want to teach in psychology, then you would get a psychology PhD. But to teach in a clinical mental health counseling program, or you even see like at undergrad, you'll see like human services or counseling and human services at the undergraduate level, or even
Mm,
other PhD programs in counselor education and supervision. You would want to have this particular degree to be able to do that. That being said, it's also having this degree doesn't limit you to those roles either. So we have
sure.
students in these programs that are looking to get a PhD because they're school counselors and they'd like to move up in higher education. And so this gives them a background in research and leadership and assessment that allows them to do that. Or, if you're thinking like agency leadership and you really want to have that PhD, that's another
Sure.
kind of a thing you can do, or just other sorts of organizational leadership. I know folks with this degree that are in higher ed administration and, leadership positions in other types of organizations, or also working in private practices and working primarily as supervisors out in the field. So there's a lot of uses for it. And if you are interested in being a faculty in a counseling program, this is the degree you want.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Tracy.
Hi. Along those same sort of like future lines, I I guess I'm wondering, after we exit them, and I'm in the same boat as Chris and Isabel, like not graduating until 27. But what does that look like in terms of earning your license, those 3,000 hours and starting school? Like you said, I think Krista said, you said it designed for you to be able to be working.
Mhm.
I just wonder what your thoughts are on that. Like, what would that look like to be still going for your licensure and digging into your own coursework and research for your PhD?
Yeah. So, this is when I wish we had one of our current students here to tell you more about this, but we have I believe I don't know if I can think of anyone of our students who isn't working in some sort of practice or agency working on licensure. So they are able to typically work their schedule around, and we have people who are school counselors, college counselors, agency counselors, private practitioners, but people who are working primarily as supervisors. So it really runs the gamut. And some of them are already licensed, some of them are working on their licensure hours. But yeah, I think with the model of like everything kind of being on Tuesdays and Thursdays at this point anyway, people have been able to schedule around that. And it's actually not 2 full days. I think like our first year cohort is taking a half day and a full, like a half Tuesday morning and then all day Thursday. So, and similar for the second year cohort. I think they're Thursday afternoon and, or sorry, Tuesday afternoon and day Thursday, something like that, right? So there's still a lot of other days in the week to work around. Now, I don't want to discount the amount of work that there is because it's not just about the classroom work. As we know, there's all sorts of things and readings and things to do outside of it. So I don't want to give the impression that it's just, oh my gosh, just so easy. You can just fit it in like you would a tennis game or something. But it is definitely a commitment. And we think we're getting it figured out and still working on making sure that it's doable for folks who are also working professionals. And I think, honestly, I think those students would also tell you that having the summers off is huge, because they can plan travel, they can do a lot of work over the summer with their clients and things like that. If they want to see some more clients over the summer or not, or just take off and relax, or take off and teach for us, or there's lots of different ways to kind of puzzle all of that together. So, yeah, great question. Lozaline, I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly.
Hi, everybody. Um, so my question is kind of like you kind of talk about it, but I would like to see if you could elaborate more on the schedule. Because when I explore the program online, it says fully online starting fall 2026. But when I see the presentation, there's kind of like 1 to 2 days a week.
Right. So those classes are still online. So likely you would have, again, like you'd have a Tuesday morning class online and then a Thursday morning and a Thursday afternoon class online. So right now those students are coming into campus for a day, but in the fall, the new cohort, if you're a part of that, you would still have that same schedule, but it would just be online only instead of coming into campus. And then we're going to have right now, we're planning to do 3 residencies. So you'll come in the fall residency, which is usually October or early November, in the spring residency, which is usually at the end of April. And then that's the first year. And then the second year, you'll come back for the spring residency as well. Um, so we'll see you twice in person for the first year, and then once the second year, and then you'll be all on your own at that point.
So for the semester, fall 2026, when is the semester started?
Right. So we are a quarter system. So we start usually around September 10 to 12, somewhere in there. And we're done usually right after Thanksgiving. So that next week, the last, I think our quarter this year ends on a Wednesday or something, or maybe it's a Friday, but it's that first week after Thanksgiving. And then our winter quarter starts early January and goes until mid-March. And then there's a spring break. And then I guess that spring quarter goes beginning of April to the second week of June.
And then summer break.
And then there's summer quarters off. So then you get midweek of June until middle of September off.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
I just put in the chat our academic calendar, so in case you wanted to see it, it'll outline the quarters like Dr. Lamar just articulated.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, the quarter system is a little wonky if you're coming from semesters. It's taken me a long time to just even say quarter instead of semester. So yeah, they're a little different.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Amber.
Hi. Sorry, I don't think you can see me, but it was because I was driving, but I'm not anymore, but it was on like a safe driving mode. So my apologies.
No
But
worries.
I actually had like two questions. The first is in regards to the admission requirements in the degree that's required in order to apply. So when looking online, it says that there's three prerequisite courses, which I have those, and then the emphasis on working in the field currently, which I've been doing for over 10 years. But I worked for DCFS for like 8 or 9 of them, and now I work for as like a KENS assessor, and I'm a certified assessor through the state of my state. But my question with that is the prerequisites the requirement as well as the um, employment history, or do you have to actually have a master's degree in psychology or counseling or something of that nature?
Sure. So I'll try to answer and let me know if I'm not accurately getting to what you're hoping to understand better.
Okay.
For this degree, the PhD in counselor ed and supervision, you do need a master's in counseling. If you have something that's similar or close, what we'd encourage you to do is reach out to us because we have a process, especially, and I know it doesn't sound like you're in California, but in California, there's not as many counseling programs. And so there's a lot of very similar related ones. And so we recommend a K-CREP counseling program, or like you have that. But if you don't, that's not the end of the world. We want to still talk to you. And so I think get in touch with us because we can kind of walk you through like, does your counseling program kind of have all the required elements that you need to start the PhD program? We have had some students who needed to take a couple of courses to make sure that they had everything they needed for that. Or sometimes we've looked at the transcripts and we've said, yeah, this is everything that you need. Maybe it's not K-CREP accredited, but it has all the required coursework that we want to see at the master's level before you come into the PhD.
Okay, thank you. No, you did answer that.
Okay, great.
And then the second question was in regards to the residencies. I know there's 3 total. What is the duration of each residency?
Sure. So they are currently around 4 days. So like come in and then there's 4 full days and then some people will head out depending on where you live and how far you are. Some people can even head out like the last night, to get home late, but then have their next day sleep in their own bed that night.
Okay, thank you.
Great questions. Any others?
I have one, but I don't know if this is the right forum, Dr. Lamar. How do you, when it comes to sort of like finding your focus, is that something that you work on in partnership with different faculty before you officially accept? Or is that something that you would say, look, I know I want to do this. I think this general set of faculty are the people I want to work with, and then we'll figure it out when we get there. How
You
does
don't
that
even have
come into
to.
focus?
That's a great question, Tracy. And you don't even have to do that, because we know that this program, you know, helping, counseling programs, students are coming in with helper identities. You're coming in as a counselor. You're coming in having worked in the field, working with people. And this is really, it's new. It's a new knowledge base. It's a new knowledge set of research and teaching and supervision. And you may come in, in my own experience, I kind of came in um, with this idea of what I thought I was doing, and then came in and realized, like, oh, actually, there's all these other options that I had no idea about. So we work with you through that. You have an advisor. You get to work with different faculty in different capacities. So you come in, you'll have an advisor, you'll work with a faculty on research. So you'll get lots of different perspectives. You may work with somebody else as a CES fellow or as a TA, or as a co-instructor. So I think our current cohort, they probably are in touch with, plus they're instructing faculty, they're probably in touch with 6 to 7 faculty this quarter to hear different perspectives, to think about all the different options. So you don't need to have a sense of, here's what I want to do. You can, of course, come in with like, this is what I'm really interested in researching, or these are populations that I really want to work with, or classes I know I want to teach. And but other than that, it's really a journey of sort of exploring and discovering what you want your professional development to look like.
Okay. And then I guess I just related to that is sort of getting the research started. So I know that like many of the projects that you all are working on as faculty, it might take 5, 6 years before you get end to end, like starting your work and then finally publishing something. Um, how does that net out in terms of the the PhD student bringing their research to bear?
Right. That is a great question. And I think, depending on who you know and what faculty you've talked to, some of us are slower than others. So you've got some
Okay.
faculty that are really doing that a lot more, getting more work directly done. It has a lot to
Okay.
do with the culture of higher ed and promotion and tenure and how all of that works into like some people, and also like the other responsibilities that we hold, right? So, some people hold a lot more administrative responsibilities and some people have more
Okay.
PhD research. So there's some stuff there. But you will be from the very first quarter, you'll be taking courses where you're starting to build your research ideas, build your
Okay.
research articles. So we're not just letting you loose and saying, figure this out. It's very structured within the curriculum
Okay.
and outside the curriculum as well. So you'll be doing, getting exposed to research through being in a research lab with a faculty member so that you get more comfortable with the idea of it while you're working in class on a conceptual manuscript around a topic that's of interest to you. And then every quarter you take your idea and you play around with it in class and figure it out so that by the time you're putting your articles and research together, you really are able to do it pretty succinctly. So I don't know if that helps,
Great.
but
It
yes,
helps a
just so
lot.
just
Thank
so
you
you
so
know,
much.
some of us are very, very slow at this point in our lives at getting research out. That is
I
not
get it.
always typical. So
Okay. Thank you so much. That was really helpful context.
yeah, absolutely. And I just want to clarify, there are no prerequisites for classes for this program. The only thing would be if if you're not coming from a K-CREP counseling program, we would look at your transcript to see if you had any gaps. And we would work with you on an individualized plan then. But there's no sort of things you have to do before you get here. So, Chris.
Is this the second year of the CES program at PAU?
Yeah, so the second cohort just started. If you're applying this year, and I know some of you are still in the master's program, but if you were to apply by January 4th, you would be starting in that third year in that third cohort.
What has been the acceptance rate for both years?
We have been able to take everyone who's applied. So I'm not totally sure what the acceptance rate is because we've had some people defer and things like that. So again, we had sort of a lot of support from our administration to really take anyone who wanted to come.
Sure.
The first cohort is they're at 7. Um, and then the second cohort is at 6. Our max capacity is 12. So we don't
Okay.
ever want our cohorts to get larger than 12. So for the most part, you will only be in classes with about 12 people. There may be that may change if 2 cohorts are in the same class together.
Mhm.
But for the most part, it's the max of 12.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh, of course. Rosaline.
Hi, can you please explain a little bit more about the internship?
Sure. So the internship, again, is very different from a master's in counseling internship. If you have any anxiety or stress from that, that's not what this is. This is really about training you to be in faculty or leadership roles. It's 600 hours, and it's 600 hours across the areas of counseling, teaching, supervision, research, leadership, and advocacy. So typically, students start their first year in internship or their first quarter in internship focusing on research and supervision or leadership. And so there's some students that are working on these leadership projects. One of them is developing a mentoring program. One of them is the two are doing that curriculum project I talked about for their leadership. I think we have somebody maybe sitting on a professional board as part of their leadership internship as well. Typically, co-teaching a class is something that people do for internship as well. Working with faculty on a research. So again, that I said that first quarter is a focus on supervision, research, and maybe leadership and advocacy. So some of them are supervising practicum and internship. And so they go to that class once a week and participate in that. And then everybody is assigned a research mentor in the faculty, and they work with that faculty member for that quarter on research projects or longer. It depends on kind of how it goes. And then usually in the second quarter, there's a shift to a focus on teaching or counseling. We have some counseling opportunities that happen on campus, so you can really kind of get all of your work done on campus. Although we have students who I just talked to a student this morning who's working in a college counseling community center or community college counseling center and is going to do some different committee work and leadership responsibilities within her job that are new. So she's going to do some work there, maybe do some clinical work there as well. So it's 600 hours, and we work with you and advise you to, talk to you about like, what is it you want to do when you leave? Do you want to be do you want to go to an intensive research institution? Let's do your internship really focused on research then. Do you want to be more focused on teaching and supervision? Let's focus your internship hours on that. There's a lot of flexibility. This is really where it is you are able to tailor what it is you want to do. And so you'll work with your advisors and other faculty to individualize a plan for yourself with that. But you do it typically across 3 quarters.
Across 3 quarters. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
again, it's very integrated into the program. So it's like you're co-teaching, you're developing these skills about co-teaching, and you're also able to get internship credit for it. So
Nice.
yeah.
We have time for one more question. If not, I'll thank you all for your engagement and joining us today. As a reminder, I will email the recording out to all participants. And then if you have any questions or you want to further discuss or explore if this is the right program for you, please feel free to reach out. And thank you again for joining us today and wishing you a wonderful Tuesday.
Thank you. See ya.